Director's Reflections for September 3rd of 2023. Balaguer's stick. In the exercise of his role as one of Trujillo's most respected aulices until the time of his two long terms, Joaquin Balaguer was always an enigmatic figure. It was wrapped in a kind of sancta sanctorum, a narrow space to which only two or three assistants had access, always faithful to their secrets. And there were few who dared to guess his intentions or those who tried to scrutinize the intimate bowels of his mysteries so as not to step on the wrong foot or surprise him in a political trap. There are many stories and anecdotes about that behavior, enough to think that he was driving a power algorithm that was beyond the understanding of the majority. One of them, which little by little spread among the circle of his state secretaries, was that of his signature, or personal rubric that was only valid for any purpose, if it was topped with a stick or diagonal line at the bottom. It became common for townspeople who attended inaugurations or political events to bring letters for him to sign, with instructions to provide housing, a scholarship, or a job, or other requests for help. Balaguer signed them without stopping to read them, arousing a visible jubilation in the applicants, satisfied that they had achieved their long awaited purposes. But it turns out that when they went to the office of a Secretary of State or Director General of a government institution, they will check if the signature had the famous stick, and if not, they will give an excuse right there for not complying with the order. Actually, he pleased a good number of citizens, but not randomly, but by validating his signature with the stick to those who, with full will and knowledge of what he was authorizing, he wanted to favor. When the president published his famous work, Memories of a Courtier from the Trujillo era, back in 1989, I bought a copy and devoured it immediately because I had an appointment with him at the palace, in my capacity as director of the newspaper La Información from Santiago. Balaguer had been an editor and columnist for that newspaper and had the opportunity to direct it for a few months. The objective of my interview was to know from his own voice that experience to publish it in a special edition on the occasion of a new anniversary of the newspaper. To close the meeting, I asked him to autograph the copy of his book that I had bought. Due to his advanced blindness, I stood next to him and moved the first page closer to him so that he could do so. He printed his signature, and when I claimed that he did not have a dedication, he replied, "But I have just given you a personal compliment in the interview, aware that I was committing him to a difficult effort. I had no choice but to tell him, well, put the stick on it to make it worth it." Balaguer burst out laughing at this occurrence, and he did it with pleasure. For Listing Diario, voiceover and translations by Indira Rodriguez.